Turn right onto Walker Street. Then you'll take your first right onto Hicks Street.
Oh, shut the hell up. This fucking Australian GPS
Left onto Texas State.
thinks it knows everything about where things are. Well, guess what, motherfucker? You can't feel. You're not a human like me.
You're
Actually,
America.
I can't really feel either. I'm basically a robot that shits. Listen, Jeffrey Epstein just dropped a new mixtape. No, they just released. It looked like kind of recent. It looked like it was within. I'm not sure what year it was, but it was probably right before 2018. He died in 2019. So yeah, it was probably around then. It looked new. Steve Bannon was interviewing him. It was a 2-hour-long interview with Epstein, never before seen. Nobody has ever heard this guy talk before. And so I think everyone who watched it, their first thought was, wow, what a Jew. That's how he talks. He's like, well, I'm fine. The thing is about these young ladies. He wasn't talking about that. He wasn't talking about anything. He wasn't talking about anything we wanted to hear. We didn't get to the bottom of anything. He was speaking as a political, scientific conjoiner, where his main points were saying he was joining politics with science. And he was speaking as if he was a financial genius as well as a scientific expert. Well, guess what, Epstein? I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. And he's not a dumb guy, clearly, if you're going to get to that level. But I wouldn't say he's some kind of genius. He's definitely bright. He's definitely smarter than all you motherfuckers. And he's... I'm going to take this jacket off. He reminded me of... He was talking about the soul. He was talking about electrons. He was talking... Honestly, sounded like one of my podcasts. But the vibe I got was... It sounded a lot like a 19-year-old who did acid for the first time, who's trying to convince a woman that he's insightful by explaining his trip experience. That's what it sounded like. Although he'd never done psychedelics, apparently. Apparently he's never drank or done drugs. Which is funny, because I've been a drug addict my whole life, never diddled one kid, so it would not be a stretch to assume injecting heroin could cure pedophilia. You just got to choose which little prick you want in you. All right. But he said a few interesting things. He was saying that the financial system is a system unlike a motor system, because a motor system can have parts replaced. You can diagnose the issue, replace the part, and the machine will be running smoothly again. However, the economy, even though it is based on numbers on paper, it is more based on human emotion, and it is not like a machine. He compared currency and liquidity to blood in the human body, and it needs to be pumping. And I found that interesting. A lot of it was quite fascinating. He also...
Oh shit, gotta stay on the road.
He also said, yeah, I made Jimmy listen to it. Jimmy's not into this shit at all, and he's about to become a Nazi when he's done with this tour.
No, I tell you what, I'll put in my 2 cents here. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about for half of it, but after it, I can see why people like the guy. I was like, wow, I like this guy. He was just seemed personable and friendly and pretty well spoken, and he didn't seem like a dodgy prick at all. He didn't seem, like he was sus. What suspect? I don't know,
no, like the kids say.
Yeah, like you youngsters out there say.
Yeah, yeah, but see, the thing about Jimmy is he's a really nice guy, and he gives everyone the benefit of the doubt. We towed a guy he was stuck in ice, and everyone's just driving past him. It's freezing out. This kid's in a tank top.
He was clearly retarded.
You can say that.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Well, he was retarded. He was he was a drug dealer for sure, because he had the nicest car, and he's in a tank top and shorts, and it's like 27 degrees out, and he's stuck on the ice while dealing ice, and we towed him out. Anyways,
Dude, there's no way he was a drug dealer. That was way too small of a town. You'd get caught quick.
I don't know. Well, he was just. I don't know. He had
I think he was a rich kid. I think he was a rich kid.
But he has his license plates actually in a wheelchair on it.
Always compared it to water, river, banks, current, sea, liquidity. It's like, it's all based around water. But blood is interesting because that is more personal to us and the human body. And, as above, so below, and microcosms and stuff like that. I hope you're following me, because if you're watching this, you should just know what I'm talking about. But because I've made comparisons to the human body, because reality is a fractal, and a fractal means the big picture can be found on a small portion, and it replicates over and over to make this big picture that looks identical to the smallest part. Which is why I say violence is inevitable, because even inside each and every one of us, our immune system is at war constantly. As we speak, we are fighting billions of tiny battles within us, whether it's our own immune system or fighting off bacteria, viruses, cancer cells, killing dying cells, what have you, autophagy or autophagy. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but
Even
it's interesting to make these comparisons because it helps you understand things. People often get misconstrued when they say you can't compare these two things, and yes, you can. That's how comparisons work. That's why they exist. It's so you can have a reference point to be able to understand something from. Without a reference point, you can't understand things. If I told you to explain what a toothbrush was to someone who didn't know what a toothbrush was, you'd probably say it's a stick, and at the end it has a tiny little broom bristles or something. You have to. There's always points of reference. Nothing truly exists on its own. Everything just exists as a reference point of something else.
every time people say that shit, they go, it's a straw man argument, because they don't actually have a good argument themselves. So all they try to do is use a fucking buzzword that they heard to try to derail what you're trying to explain to them, because they don't really want to understand. Anyways, continue.
Well, a straw man argument's a little bit different. A straw man argument is something that isn't real. That would be like saying a toothbrush is like a scarecrow with a jetpack. It's like, well, a scarecrow is a straw man, literally. I didn't even mean to do that.
But half the time you get it right, and they just say that.
The perfect example of a straw man argument in reference to Jeffrey Epstein is Pizzagate. The way Pizzagate was portrayed to the media was that Pizzagate was essentially they're trafficking kids out of a pizza shop in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
That was never said. The truth about Pizzagate is the owner of said pizza shop was involved in trafficking kids.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to make it ridiculous. Like, if you go into this basement, there's a bunch of kids down there. No, nobody. Even like cartel hotspots. There's bars that you can tell it's owned by the cartel. They don't have a bunch of kilos in the basement, but they're involved in the trafficking of it. You know what I mean? So, and that made it easier for them to say it was debunked. Although I mentioned this on the last stream. The last stream, one of the journalists who debunked Pizzagate ended up in prison for raping toddlers. So, wow, this is a nice sight over here. Look, we got a little water. Look at that. We've been in the middle of fucking nowhere for so long. There's one little patch of water. I'm like, natural beauty. We're in Yellowstone over here.
Everything else is dead.
Yeah, by the way, small town comedy, not my crowd. Not my crowd, but it's good. I'll emerge from this a better comedian and
or
less happy.
a broken comedian.
Well, that makes you better. Yeah, this is doing a real number on my self-esteem right here. I'll tell you that much. I'm like, I could be home working on my businesses, making money, getting bitches, and I'm out here with fucking my new stepdad. And he can't even beat me up, so where's the fun in that? I wonder if my real dad's out there getting jealous with another old dude. You play catch with who? No, my dad definitely doesn't watch this. He is not. My dad watches all my stories, though. I don't know if I told you. My dad doesn't talk to me anymore. He hasn't responded to me since April.
Ever since you started talking about apple juice.
Oh, hey, he did it. He's learning. We're staying monetized, folks. We're staying monetized. Yeah, hitting a vape like a gay guy. So yeah, Jimmy's sober, so I am inclined to stay sober as well. Okay. Which that's honestly the hardest part. The whole sobriety journey has been I did a real 360. I'll tell you that.
That means you came back to square one.
Yeah, I went sober, then I relapsed. Now I'm back sober again. I don't know.
Revolving door.
I don't think sobriety needs to be a lifelong pursuit for everyone. I mean, for you probably, you got people that depend on you. You got a family, you got kids. I got nothing. I have nothing. Okay.
No dependence. You have no dependence.
Yeah, I have no. I'm not responsible for anyone else's life.
That's good.
And it's nice. It's very nice. I imagine it'll be stressful too. I've had employees before, and that's stressful. That's a lot. It's nice to be a solopreneur and just do your own thing. And fuck, I have to update my payment info on Shopify. That is super important, actually. I need to do that. Like, my site is down. I can't get orders. It just went out the other night. GoldenCricket.com and DiscoLabs.co. Get yourself some cricket powder and get yourself some Delta 9 gummies. We ship globally. I mean, nationally. We do not ship globally. I didn't mean to say that. We ship all over the country. Yeah, so we're headed up to Wichita Falls, which is another city that is probably exactly like the last three cities, which is just nothing. Nothing but old people.
Now this one.
And then you meet one chick that's kind of decent looking, and the whole town's ran through her, I'm sure. Everyone knows each other. Small towns are. I could never. I don't get the whole small town thing, man. I mean, I respect them. I think they're America's backbone.
That was a big town we were in. I live in a town of 1,200.
That's insane. And that was, what, 12,000, 10,000?
That was 10,000, yeah.
That's crazy, man. I don't know.
We're a 30-minute drive, 25-minute drive from a good grocery store. I mean, there's a shitty grocery store in our town. I say shitty. It doesn't have everything, you know. And then to town where there's 100,000 people where you can get, you know, anything. We are 38 minutes.
Yeah, see, I couldn't do that. I like being around people. Even though a lot of them suck, it's still like. Even though a lot of people suck, I still like being around them because it gives me a chance to be better than them. If everyone was awesome, I'd feel bad about myself. It's great having people beneath me. They say comparison is a thief of joy. Not if you're better than everyone. Although if I keep grinding at this comedy stuff, I'm not going to be better than everyone for much longer. Because, man, comedy just, it's so much fun, but it just, if you're not making a living from it, you feel like a real loser. Like, that's why it's hard to, I have friends that are like, oh, I thought you'd have a Netflix special by now. And it's like, no, dude, I want to, like, go live life and not be surrounded by homeless degenerates that don't understand money. You know, it's weird. It's weird being in all these different circles and pockets.
Yeah, comedy is not a good, like, I had somebody ask me this, oh, is that a good business? Or, like, something like, is that a good career? The answer is no. It is, comedy is a terrible career choice. It is horrible
It's an addiction.
in every possible way, unless you can, turn it into a business. Like, you can run your shows and book your tickets. But then, like, 90% of what I do is not being on stage. It's all the background stuff. Like, I sit there 60 hours a week at the computer making calls and sending emails. So it's to the point where it's not like people see the outside, they see oh, it must be glamorous, and it is when you're on stage. But the 1 hour that you're on stage, the lead up to that, like, took months of booking and making posters and sending, emails. And but having said that, I mean, I love it, but it's like, people see this thing that it is nothing like what you see, unless by, the 1 in 10,000 chance that you just, happen to be freaking hilarious, and you also have a huge online following, which then transitions. But most people who are like online content creators and stuff, and they're great, then they get asked to do some stand-up, headline for an hour at a festival, and they do nothing but bomb for an hour, because it is not the same thing. It's a totally different skill set.
Yeah,
So
being on stage is awesome. Everything else about comedy sucks.
it doesn't suck. It's not glamorous, and it's just what they call hard yakka in Australia. Like, you just push, and it just takes a lot of work. It's a lot of grind.
I feel genuinely unhappy waiting an hour to get up on stage. If I gotta go somewhere and wait to get up, I'm just thinking of all the other shit that I could be doing that could be furthering my life in so many other ways.
And so when you're on tour, you're waiting 23 hours until the next time you go up.
Yeah. Well, especially in these small towns, there's nothing to fucking do. Like when I was on tour, we went to, let's see, we've done San Diego, Corpus Christi, Niagara Falls, all over Europe. It's like all day I'm just sightseeing and interacting with people, and there's so much to do. But these small towns, there's nothing.
That's why we go there, because there's nothing else to do. So they're like, well, we'll buy comedy tickets,
So
I guess.
we're the most exciting thing in that town. We're the ones that are better than him. Except not really. I feel like all these people are secretly super rich.
So there's
The guy in the quarter zip with the full set of veneers.
when there's
like 30 grand.
involved in certain industries, and if it's related to farming and fixing tractors and selling seed and stuff like that, they can do quite well. Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to sell my seed. Dude, veneers are just grills for white people.
Oh yeah, the guy we were talking to 2 nights ago, who had played rugby, and his all like either fake teeth or veneers or something. Yeah, he had no teeth before that, I'm assuming.
I bet they're just real crooked.
Oh, maybe they all got
Some
knocked
people
out.
got veneers, some people got venereal disease,
Yeah, syphilis will do that to your teeth, won't it?
Syphilis gives you brain,
Yeah, all sorts of fucked up
what's it
stuff.
called? That's what Al Capone got.
Neurosyphilis.
It slowly eats away at your brain and makes you insane.
And it eats
That's
away.
why Al Capone's last years in Alcatraz, he was convinced Bugs Moran was like stalking him in his cell, even though he was in prison, and he went insane.
And it also will eat away at your bones. And so people will end up with like it in their, I think it's primarily their tibias, their lower legs, and their skull, and it'll like leave pock marks in the bone. So these people during the last few years, if you've had it 30 years, it takes like 30 years to develop, they're just in complete pain constantly, which means their chemical balance in their body's probably off, so that makes them even more insane. It can't be nice.
Yeah, get checked for syphilis, folks.
I don't even know if they can do much about it.
Yeah, they got a cure.
Wear a condom.
Just give you, I don't know about that. That's not too bad. No, but I think you did comedy the right way. You built a life, you built a family,
Yeah.
and then you started doing comedy. I think I started doing comedy the right way too. I built up my wealth, I saved money, I prepared myself to get a house and car and stuff. And I would have never started comedy had I not already had the money to be able to do that for my free time.
Here is my thought. I mean, there's two thoughts, right? Either start with nothing, and so it's so painful that you have to succeed. But the problem is, I think that if you want to do what you want to do and be creative, and you want your comedy to be a reflection of who you are, without the gatekeepers telling you you can't do that joke here and you can't say this here, then you need to be able to bankroll yourself. You need to be able to fund your own stuff. So you better not have a ton of debt, that can't be serviced. And so, like, my house and cars were paid off and stuff before I started. Well, mostly anyway. So it wasn't going to be problematic. So I could do what I want to do. Yeah.
It's also so saturated now. Everyone can do it. Everyone's doing comedy. Everyone's tried it.
Everybody's trying it.
And if you're a woman who's above 5, then you're getting booked everywhere immediately.
Yeah.
Taking spots from the real talent like us.
It's interesting.
I've had girls that they're like, I think girls I'm talking to will be like, oh, I should do comedy. I'm like, don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking dare. And they're like, why? You're worried I'm going to be funnier than you and take your spots? And I'm like, yes, but you're not going to be funnier than me ever. I'm like, yes, I'm worried you're going to take my spots. Exactly. And then also, you're going to joke about me because I'm fucking hilarious and I give you endless material. And then I'm going to be like, you're up there doing my fucking shit.
Yeah, it's also quite interesting that you can be the funniest person on the planet, but if you don't have good advertising, social media stuff, a good following, I mean, I have 100 between like the 3 main platforms. I have 170,000 followers. Nobody's ever heard of me. It doesn't make a difference. Like, you need to be up in a million, and then you can be even completely not funny. And if you have that many followers, you'll sell out shows.
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest thing is that people like you.
Well, yeah, but if they don't see your advertising, if they don't see your social media, they like you and they think you're funny, but they never fucking heard of you. So it's like, this is me just speaking purely out of jealousy. It is so frustrating to see these people. We were at Sunset, and there was a guy that was up. This was like last year in Austin, and my friend and I were watching him. And he goes, he is not good. And I went, I don't know what's going on. I go, I bet he's got, 1.5 million followers. And my friend was like, I bet it's even more than that. And sure enough, it was like 2.2 million followers. So they know if they book the guy, people are going to buy tickets to come see. They don't care.
But even that doesn't help. I have a buddy who has like 160K followers.
Yeah.
And he said it hasn't really done much for him at all.
No.
But then he's open for some big names just because he's been in the right place and he's a very likable guy.
Yeah.
So being likable is more important than having followers.
Yeah.
If you get liked by the right people that have the following.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, all followers are not created equal. I have, a lot. I've gained a lot of followers within the last year with the Jew stuff, and a lot of them are like Muslim people in Bangladesh and Pakistan. That doesn't really help me at all. The number looks good, but it's like. And then a lot of my YouTube subscribers is because I posted videos of my dog, and he's cute, and those always go viral.
The thing that's
like, you came here to see my dog, and now you're like, oh, these guys are just in a car talking about Epstein and comedy. I want to see fucking Pablo.
Yeah.
And I get it. I'd rather watch Pablo than me too. He's a great guy.
The thing that people do notice is when they see your paid advertising come up, and then they see, okay, you've got like good videos that are funny.
Well, listen, I don't think anyone wants to hear about the behind the scenes of comedy.
No. All right, well,
we're getting sidetracked.
Talk about Epstein.
Epstein was Epstein was a good man. He was acting in self-defense. No.
Self-defense against those horrible children.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this joke where I'm saying like, the kids are, Israel says children are not innocent, and I'm like, you know what? They actually kind of have a point, because the worst people on the planet are children. I mean, I've never been bullied by adults. All the most traumatic shit that's happened in my life has been under 18. Since I've been an adult, people have been pretty chill. Sure, maybe you get a little bit of cold shoulder, a little bit of rudeness, but it doesn't go much further than that. Also, probably helps that I'm bigger than everyone can beat people up. Which, there's all these little life hacks. You just get some money, learn how to fight people, and then life is a lot easier as a man. And I was saying this shit way before Andrew Tate even became a thing. And then he started saying it, and I was like, fuck, now people are going to think that I'm copying him. That's just a known, it should be a known thing about just being a man. We operate on a framework of violence. That's the reason why society exists mostly peacefully, because of the imminent threat of violence. It's the reason why men respect each other and why women are fucking bitches, because we won't hit them. And it is what it is. Should we start hitting women? No, I don't think so. I think we should manipulate them. Because I had a girlfriend that, my first girlfriend, I was a dick to, but I never hit her or anything. And I said that to her. I was like, I wasn't that bad. It's not like I hit you. And she was like, I would have rather you hit me than talk to other girls. And I'm like, that's insane. So yeah, they're all emotionally based. And so is the economy. All money is based on human emotion. It's trying to tie numerical codes to represent human emotion. When they say price is reflective of value, value is determined by the market. The market is human emotion. The market is, well, how do I feel this is valuable? There's very few things that actually have intrinsic value. I would say it really just boils down to food, shelter, water, oxygen, just the basic physiological needs. You don't, like, even gold. Gold has always been valuable, but you got 10 kilos of gold and you're stuck on a deserted island. That's worthless. You can't do anything with that.
Can't eat it.
So, a bunch of cows. Bunch of cows. Have you ever tipped a cow?
No.
Is that a myth?
No, it's a real thing.
Someone
But you break their ribs when you do it because they fall onto their side and they weigh so much, so it's not good for them.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume so.
But it's something you do when you're drunk.
Oh man, I've never hurt an animal. I've never killed an animal. I would like to go hunting. That's on my bucket list. I want to shoot a deer, cut it open, and take a bite out of its heart, and then smear the blood on my face. And then I will feel like I have earned the right to eat meat. Because right now, I feel like I've just been a meat poser my whole life. I eat meat all the time, and I just get it conveniently packaged at the grocery store, and I don't have to witness the slaughter. And I don't think that's fair. I think if you're eating meat, you should kill an animal.
Tell you what, I really don't kill stuff, but my dogs will kill wallabies that are on our property, and then
No!
it is such a great experience to chop them up for dog meat and to skin them and to take out the organs and stuff like this.
Why are you going 38 miles per hour?
Because it's fun. It's like 30 here now. It's 45.
You don't have a U.S. driver's license.
Yeah,
they cannot do shit to you.
The whole thing is, I also don't want to have to pay for it. I don't want to be on their radar.
You don't understand. You have diplomatic.
We don't have anywhere to be. I'm just cruising along, making sure that I can make it back to Australia.
Fast.
All right. Well, now look at this. Oh, we're up to 56.
God, can I drive?
But you no.
We'll get there in 10 minutes.
I didn't get the extra insurance for an extra driver.
So another thing that relates to what Epstein was talking about, I saw this video where it was saying measuring coastlines is, if you measure the coastline, it's a confusing. I don't know what word to describe this as. Basically, if you measure a coastline by the mile, like a 5-mile coastline, and you just measure it in 1 mile increments, 5-mile coastline. You measure it by meters, now it's like 10 miles. You measure it by inches, now you got to go around every little crevice and stone, and now it's like 100 miles. You measure it by the centimeter, now it's like 1,000 miles. So the increment at which you measure determines the length of the coastline, and it is a variable, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying, how everything needs a frame of reference. There's no light without dark, that kind of thing. Everything is contrasting something else to be understood. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yin to the yang type of shit.
Epstein was saying how 1 divided by 0 is undefined. And he equated that to God. How there's a certain point where you can get close to God, but you can never reach it until you die.
What is this guy?
He didn't say that. I'm throwing that in there.
He's just.
I hope this is streaming without glitching. I should have brought my second phone so I could view the stream. But too late for that. So he was also, I kind of forget a lot of what the interview was because I went to sleep and then I had a dream that I was interviewing Epstein. And he was telling me that his favorite part of the trafficking was the chase and the hunt. And I'm just sitting there horrified in an interrogation room with him. And then these giant black worms just started crawling out of his nose and into his mouth, and he was not reacting to it at all. And then I was like, what the fuck? And it went in and disappeared. And then 5 more worms. There was just these thick black worms crawling out of his orifices in his face. Then I freaked out and ran. I don't know what that means, but
it means don't.
Probably means he's a creepy guy, which I knew. I didn't need the dream to tell me that.
It means drugs are bad, kids. That's what
I did take a hydroxy before bed. That is like a concentrated version of kratom, which I'm not into. But look, I can't be fully sober. I gotta do something to take the edge off or put the edge on. You know. Sometimes you want the edge on, because then you're sharp. Sometimes you gotta have an edge before you perform. That's why I jerk off without completing. That's how I prepare to get on stage. Give me 3 minutes. But yeah, he was basically saying, yeah, we don't know. I think if I could summarize what Epstein was saying about science, he's like, yeah, we really don't know what's going on. And then he was talking about his experience with the Rockefellers, and Steve Bannon was the one interviewed. Steve Bannon was answering shitty questions, and Epstein was making it more interesting. I'm not trying to defend Epstein, but I'm not gonna just. Everyone does bad shit. I'm gonna dig myself in the hole.
Everybody diddles kids occasionally.
Dude, that's what they. I knew this woman. I'm getting too old to use that word. I was talking to this woman who was telling me her mother grew up in a cult where she was in a forced marriage.
Mm-hmm.
As a child. She was a child bride, and she was the daughter of that. And her grandparents were the ones that forced it. And she found out as an adult that her grandpa was basically a satanic child rapist.
Oh,
I'm gonna say grape, I
guess.
I
know grape. Yep, grape.
And she confronted him, and he was like, "Hey, nobody's perfect."
Jeez.
And it's like, whoa, okay, that's a fucking.
And then when they're in the cults, they do this thing where they go, well, but I've prayed about it, and I've accepted Jesus, and I've been forgiven. Okay. So I'm still going to heaven. I just get a smaller mansion on the Golden Road than you do. Like, oh, come on. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're Jewish, you don't believe in hell at all. So
well,
that
yeah,
kind of just
true.
Saves you from anything bad happening. Smart move.
Smart move.
My question about all of these satanic pedos is, if they have been controlling the world for thousands of years, they have the ancient knowledge, the secrets of humanity, they're intellectual. If they're so smart, why would they be willing to risk an eternity in hell to commit these atrocities on Earth? And then they say, and I talked to demon erasers about this. Very intelligent guy on Instagram. He's a Christian, a firm Jesus believer, and he basically was like, well, they don't believe in hell, and I'm like, so then they just get off free, so they're right. So everyone should be doing this. What the fuck does that mean? And he was like, well, hell exists, but it is not necessarily permanent. It's not necessarily infinite. And that is also the same conclusion I have come to because I have been to hell on DMT. I've been to heaven, I've been to hell, and hell's brutal. I got violently raped by a demon serpent.
Great. You still have to say great.
Yeah, a little slip up there.
Demon serpent.
A demon serpent alien woman with barbed wire tentacles just probed my eyes, nose, everything. It just ripped me apart from the inside. I felt it all. It was painful. I was bleeding and crying. But that didn't actually happen in reality. But when I look back on everything I've gone through in life, that's the worst thing that's ever happened. So I've been to hell. I know hell's real, but it's not permanent. So that kind of fucks me up.
Did you see the Netflix show Lucifer? That was
Oh, is that the one with the good-looking guy and he's in a suit?
English guy, yeah, Tom Ellis, yeah.
I remember I had an ex-girlfriend that was watching.
The way they just quickly, the way they portray hell is you go there, but then
watch your hand in front of the camera.
You spend a lot of time like paying for those sins, and then once you accept the guilt and all that shit, then you get released. So it's like how you're talking about.
So they say that they are absolved of karma. They get karmic retribution from admitting their crimes basically as a joke, which is kind of what I do on stage. I'm just talking about being a piece of shit, and it's like it's true, but I'm not, being an addict and degenerate is not necessarily hell worthy.
Yeah.
But how they tell us, they leave breadcrumbs in movies, media, music, and stuff. So they kind of rub it in our face to tell us what they're up to. And that supposedly absolves them of karma. And I was saying on the Kurt Metzger podcast, I didn't get to reach this point. I was saying how I got hacked out of 7 Bitcoin like 10 years ago. And I finally got a portion of it back. And it was right after I got an abortion. I mean, I didn't get an abortion. I just called in to hit. But I was a party to an abortion. And then I had an abortion party. And then a few months later, boom, 100 grand appears in my account. What's that about? Did I just commit a child sacrifice and was rewarded with wealth? That is fucking trippy. But also in the Epstein emails, it says, there was one email from Epstein where he was saying, it sounded like a love letter to another man. And he was saying, I gave you my body and I went against my principles and got an abortion. Which Epstein is a man. I don't know why he would say that or why he would be against abortion, because he's clearly okay with killing kids after they've been born. So I don't know. Also, I'm on Streamlabs right now. I'm on this program where it sends this feed to all like 6 different socials. So I can't tell if you're sending me chats or if anyone's watching this. But if you're messaging me while I'm doing this on my phone, I can't tell. I can't see your messages. I can only see your messages when I'm doing this from my computer. But basically, okay, I feel like Epstein is reasonably smart. He's a thinker. He was saying he respects ideas and he doesn't value people with money or power. He respects intelligence, intellect, personality, and ideas. And I think he's kind of full of shit. like Brett Weinstein was saying, he met him once, and he got a vibe that he was a fraud because he was doing. Epstein said to him, he's like, "Oh, I was just doing some currency trading," and the Weinstein guy, unfortunate name as well, was like, "That's not how billionaires talk. That's not people who do currency trading. They don't phrase it like that." He said it reminded him of Steve Buscemi coming in with the skateboard, like, "Hello, fellow school children." So, yeah, Epstein gave me the vibe that he was trying to seem insightful. And then he brought up the point where if you look into what an electron is, there's like nothing there. Everything's just empty space, which goes into what I believe in my religion, the interdimensional temple, of how all matter is merely collapsed light waves. And everything is just frequencies on the electromagnetic spectrum that are concentrated into what appears as matter by our own consciousness. So it's not that we have evolved as life forms to become conscious, but rather the inverse. Consciousness is infinite and created reality. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the torus, the shape. It's imagine a spherical donut. So a donut, but then you stretch it out here, and then it's got like a loop in the middle. It kind of goes in like that. And that's kind of the auric field that a lot of, and again, this is going off of science and into pseudoscience. There's no evidence for this really, but if you're into spirituality and psychedelics, you accept this as truth. And I've heard that this auric field in the shape of a torus emanates from the heart, and that's how you can feel people's vibes. But it seems that upon what's it called, when the fertilization in the egg, when the sperm fertilizes the egg,
Conception.
yeah, at the moment of conception, there's a light that bursts and it makes this spiral shape. This is real science. They have filmed this happening. So I think at the moment of conception, this auric field emerges, and the auric field itself builds your body within it. So it's not that the heart is projecting the aura is creating the body. And then that body and mind can manipulate the auric field. So your mood can be detected by other people's auric field. You know, have you ever noticed where you're in a bad mood, you go out in public, and then everyone's kind of an asshole, and then you realize like it's not like they can just pick up on that. You're internally an asshole. People can read each other. There's no science behind why we can read each other's vibes and stuff like that, but that's when you got to get into the spiritual woo-woo shit. And I don't like spiritual people because they don't explain it cool like I do. I explain it the best.
A quick interruption. One of my mates, he has this thing that he does. I don't know. He just does every time he walks into a room. When he walks into a room, he purposely smiles, just so that when he walks into the room, if anybody sees him, right away they start to kind of revolve around him.
Oh yeah, dude, that's crucial. That's crucial.
That's all I had to add, by the way.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that leads me on my next tangent. That I have to do. I think this is why people call me autistic. I have to. Do you ever forget to do facial expressions?
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, you're autistic too then. But I have to, like, sometimes I'll be talking to people, and then I have to, like, think about what my face is doing, and sometimes I'm just like this, and I just look like a serial killer, and then I have to, like, kind of, like, squint, like, smile, and, like, I do this on stage, too. I have to control my facial expressions, where it's like, yeah, you do have to project an image. I think a lot of people do it naturally. I don't know if I'm unique in the fact where I have to be conscious of my neurolinguistic programming, but it does make a difference. Smiling definitely helps.
Two lanes to take the US 88 West, US 277 south exit.
But also, if you're having to control your face, if your face isn't already kind of inviting, does that have something to do with background?
Well, yeah, my
How you are?
thoughts are like, fuck this guy, you're boring. I think I might have left the stove on. What if someone broke into my car? Like, just all this shit. I'm just
Oh,
like thinking about stuff.
I kind of mean if your default is not happiness, is that something where you could work on yourself and then that changes and it changes what you project naturally without having to think about it?
Oh, absolutely. But that's on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
There's not like I did this. I went to a emotional growth boot camp and now I'm fixed. No, it's an everyday practice of being healthy, waking up, being productive. It's really just building yourself up and accomplishing enough that day that you feel proud of yourself that day that you can be that person. And then the next day, the slate's wiped clean and you got to do it all over again. So yeah, that's why. So drugs and alcohol is like a shortcut to that. Because you can have a bad day, have a few beers, and have a good night. But if you have a bad day and you're sober, you can't really have a good night. Like out in the town, hanging out with friends and stuff. If you had a bad day and you want to have a good night, you have to be productive that night.
Is that superficial? Is superficial joy the same as? I mean, is it?
Is what superficial?
Like, oh, you're having a good time because you had alcohol, but are you really having a good time? I mean, you're having a good time, but is it
Well,
I
think
the
that's
same?
irrelevant. I think
Well,
superficiality is irrelevant. I think life is superficial. Everything operates off aesthetics. That's why there's this dude blown up on social media. He pops up on my stuff all the time. This guy named Clavicular. You don't know who he is, and that's good.
Yeah.
He does this thing called looks maxing, where he tries to make himself as good looking as possible. He's like a 19-year-old kid. He's gotten face surgeries. He does this thing where he does bone smashing, where he hits himself in the face with a hammer to make himself better looking. And I mean, clearly it's working because he wasn't that good looking. Now he's really good looking, and now he's fucking rich and getting invited to hang out with all these billionaires and stuff. So, and you know, like when you like sexual attraction is like 90% aesthetic. You know, you can meet a woman with the greatest personality in the world. As much people say like, oh, looks don't matter. I just want someone with a good heart. It's like, okay, go date a fat chick then. Go date someone who's obese if they have a good personality.
That's what I'm talking about.
And some people will. Some people will. Some people are that in tune with personality over looks. But you can't deny that looks are crucial. They're very important. And it's not even necessarily like you got to be super good looking, but just like, I don't know, you don't have missing teeth.
You should be symmetrical. That's a big thing.
I would say clean. You should be clean.
There you go.
You should be hygienic and wear clothes that fit. Although I don't know, there's exceptions, but there's exceptions too. It's like there's not a one size fits all. You know, like missing teeth. If you're a hockey player, that's a plus. One of my best friends, he's a professional hockey player. He's always got a missing tooth.
Yeah. And
he's just hanging out with babes in Spain. And it's like they see the tooth and like, oh, he's put in work because that's a reflection of the effort they put into their profession.
Yeah.
So again, it's all contextual. It's all relevant. It all depends on the perceiver and the consciousness that creates and dictates reality. Because the world isn't as it is. The world is a reflection of you. And there's billions of coinciding yous that are competing for the best version of reality to perceive. So it is you, but it's also not all you. But also, we all emanate from the same consciousness, so everyone is you. I hope you guys can follow me. All right, we've been going for 51 minutes. I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna check the stream and make sure that this wasn't laggy and see if there was comments. Thanks for watching, guys.